Good morning, guys. Reviewing the circulatory system today, page 148 to 151. And I promise you, we're not talking about highways and byways and roads and things like that. But as we talked about last week, or I should say 2 weeks ago, I know it was last week, Monday before Thanksgiving. In my opinion, our circulatory system all throughout our body is kind of like a highway system. One, for the fact that there's roads kind of all over. I mean, if you look at like Google Maps overview, there's roads all over the place, and you can get anywhere you need to with a car because you can just follow the roads. You can get to any house, to any business, following roads. There's some bigger roads and there's some smaller roads. Well, same with our body. As we talked about way back when in August, every cell in our body is alive. And everything that's alive needs food, water, and air. Well, how in the world does every cell, from our cell on our forehead to the cell on our fingers to the cell on our tip of our toes, how do they get that? And it's through the circulatory system. It's through the roads in our circulatory system that we don't call roads, we call blood vessels and arteries and veins. That's how it gets to every last cell. I don't want you to do this, but I think you probably know from experience, if you get a scrape on an elbow, what happens? It bleeds, right? Our circulatory system is there. If you get a scrape on your nose, what happens? It bleeds. The circulatory system goes there. If you get a scrape on the tip of your toe, what happens? It bleeds. My point is that your circulatory system goes through every last cell in your body. It's amazing how God made us. Now, just like this, we have some major roads or some major veins and arteries, but you also have smaller roads or smaller veins and arteries that get to every last cell. And what's crazy is just like here, the roads are needed for cars, they're needed for buses, they're needed for motorcycles, they're needed for big, huge, army vehicles, they're needed for big semi-trucks carrying all kinds of different things. Our blood vessels, our arteries, our veins are carrying all these important things too, because just like we said, every cell needs food, water, and air. Well, that has to get to every single cell. And it also has to take our waste, the bad things the cells need to get rid of, and get back into our digestive system to get rid of when we go potty. That all happens on the highway system in our body that we call our circulatory system. Another major thing that I think is similar to roads is that you guys know that all the cars on this road are going this way, and all the cars on this road are going this way. We have that too. We're going to talk about that a little bit more tomorrow, especially when you focus on arteries and veins. But arteries carry blood from the heart to our cells. Veins carry blood from our cells back to our heart. They can only go one route. Okay? Now, just like a highway system can look like this, you say, wow, it's even hard to tell where the cars are going this way or that way or that way or this way. Look at this huge maze. But you guys also know when you're on these big roads like in Phoenix and such, you know exactly which road to go on. They're all connected. It all works very well in a car. And mommy, daddy, auntie, grandma know exactly which road to take to go on, even though it looks from the air like a maze. Well, our circulatory system is kind of the same way. Now again, this shows kind of the main veins and arteries of our circulatory system, all with the main part being our heart, which pumps the blood. That's a muscle, like we talked about yesterday. But you have these all throughout your body, and sometimes it looks like a maze. How in the world does the blood know to go to the cell or back to the heart, and which road to take, or which vein and which artery? And again, you can't help but say, God, you're amazing, God, how you created our bodies to work like this and get to every last cell. Now again, these are some of the main veins and arteries in our circulatory system because they absolutely go to every last single cell in our body. Now our heart is the main thing. This is what pumps the blood. And we talked all about how our bodily systems work together. Well, our bodily systems, our circulatory system also works very well with our respiratory system. That's our breathing system. That's like our lungs. Remember when I said every last cell needs air? Well, that works when we breathe in. Our lungs get it, and they actually give that oxygen to the heart, and the heart pumps it through our bloodstream, through our circulatory system to get to every last cell. And then we breathe out carbon dioxide. That's a cell saying, hey, thanks for the oxygen. Here's the carbon dioxide and waste. Go get rid of it so our blood goes through our veins back to our heart. We exhale, gives it back to the lungs and gets out of our body. And we also give our waste of the stuff we don't need, and we get rid of that when we go potty. But it all is our bodily systems working together, and our heart is what pumps it through all the time. Ba-bump, ba-bump, ba-bump. Our heart is going all the time. That's why when we have family members or people that we love have heart issues, that can be a big, major deal because we know how important our heart is. If our heart stops, that stops all the other systems because it means our body's not getting oxygen, it's not getting food, it's not getting water, and it's not getting rid of the bad stuff. And so when our heart stops, that's generally can be fatal. It is fatal. At any rate, we have a dump truck, and we're not talking about dump trucks, but in my opinion, something in your blood that acts like a dump truck is something that's called plasma. Now, your plasma works like a dump truck in this way. If you know a dump truck and you're building a big, beautiful house, a dump truck takes good stuff and it takes it to the house and it dumps it there and says, here's all the stuff that you need. And what the dump truck also can double as is saying, okay, here's a bunch of garbage. Here's a bunch of stuff we don't need. So we got the good stuff off the dump truck. Here, dump truck, take all the bad stuff and take it to the dump, take it to whatever, and get rid of it for us. That's what a dump truck does very well. Well, same with our plasma. Plasma is in our blood. There's going to be a lot of things you learn about that's all in our blood at the same time. But plasma is a thing that carries our food and our water to every cell. It says, hey, cool, I got all this food and water. I know it needs this, all the cells. And so it delivers it to our cells in our body. And then the cells say, hey, thanks for the good food, thanks for the good water. Here's some of my waste. And it puts it to the plasma, and the plasma takes it to the digestive system so we can get rid of it when we go potty. And then the plasma goes back to the heart to get some of the good stuff that it needs to take back to. It's this constant flow that's going on through our body of delivering the good stuff and taking the bad stuff and getting rid of it with our body. That is why it's so important that you've heard the old phrase, you are what you eat. Well, it doesn't mean if you eat an apple, you're going to turn into an apple. But what it does mean is that if you eat healthy foods, generally you're going to have a healthy body. If you eat foods that are high in sugar, high in fat, high in cholesterol, it generally means we're going to have an unhealthy body. That's what you are what you eat means, because your plasma is going to take whatever you put in your body. If you're putting in Mountain Dew and Doritos and Twinkies and Nutty Buddy bars, that might be delicious, but that's the food that you're giving to every last cell in your body, and it's not healthy food. So if you're lethargic and you're tired and you're grumpy, think of the foods you're putting in your body. Because this dump truck, this plasma, can't help what you put in the body, but it is going to take it to every last cell. If you're eating healthy foods, and I'm not saying you can only need to eat celery and beets and things like that, but if you're getting good food, you know, the balanced diet with vegetables and fruit, that's what this plasma is going to take to your cells, and you're going to start noticing some differences in your body, how you have good energy and a strong body because you're giving strong, healthy foods to it. It's a major thing. You are what you eat, right? Here again, we also have things that are called red blood cells. Now, here you have billions and billions and billions of these in your body. And what the red blood cell's job is to take oxygen, take good air to your body. So this works with your bloodstream and your respiratory system. So this works so closely with our respiratory system. Again, when you breathe and the heart pumps, that's putting oxygen into these red blood cells, just like the plasma. But plasma takes food and water. Red blood cells take oxygen to every cell, and the cell says, okay, here's carbon dioxide, take it back to the heart, and it goes to the heart and it gets it to the lungs and go. Now, again, that's happening continuously throughout our body. But these red blood cells are by far what's most in your blood. That's why our blood looks red. It's because we have billions of these. But you got to understand that. Now, I hope you're not bleeding, but in your blood, there's so many things in there that is so important. That's why if you have a major injury and you're bleeding a lot, that can be very serious, because when you're bleeding, it's not just blood, not just red stuff. It's oxygen, it's food, it's water, it's white blood cells. It's all that stuff that's leaving our body. If we lose too much of that, our body can't function. Here's another thing in here. We also have things that are called white blood cells, and they're just simply blood cells that are white. And what these do is help fight bacteria, germs, viruses. You might have heard a lot about white blood cells lately with the coronavirus, because your white blood cells are kind of like the security guards going through your bloodstream all the time. These guys are kind of going and looking around for, okay, that's cool, that's plasma, you're cool, okay, that's a platelet, you're cool, it's a red blood cell, that's cool. Whoa, what's this guy? Who is this? And if it's a virus or if it's a germ or if it's a bad bacteria, it'll literally go and attack it. It try to literally just go all the way around it and destroy it. And that's what is always working to keep our body healthy. A virus's job is to literally go and attack and kill cells. That's why if you ever have a sore throat, it's kind of scratchy or raw and hurting. That's because a virus in that case is winning, and it's attacking and killing your throat cells. And your white blood cells are constantly working to go and attack and kill that. And that's why it can work on getting us healthy. That's why some sicknesses can take a couple days to a week to get better, because your body is constantly working hard to produce and get more white blood cells to the place where literally the battle in your body is taking place. So your white blood cells can attack and kill the viruses. That's why sometimes you might get a fever and feel really tired, because your body is actually working overtime to get those white blood cells to the battle scene in your body. Now here, I don't want to show pictures of nasty cuts, but this is a cut and you can kind of see what's going on here. And that's another thing in your body that's called platelets. Platelets are in your blood all the time, and platelets are what help form the scab. I know I talked about this last week, but that's when Grandma says, stop picking your scab. God put it there to defend yourself. That's exactly it. You remember what we just said. When blood leaves your body, it's not just red stuff. It's food, it's water, it's air that's leaving your body, and your body is saying, uh-oh, we need this in the body. We need this to go to cells. We don't need it going out of our body. And so God put platelets in our body to literally put plates on there to help scab up the cut so it clots it up and doesn't let the blood go out. It keeps the blood in. And slowly your body over time kind of heals, and it all starts with the platelets forming the scab over that body. It literally is what it says here, a plug for your cut to keep the blood in. Now here's your assignment. Here's just a little picture. I know it's black and white, but you can see all the different parts that are inside your body. It's not just red goo or red liquid. It's all kinds of different stuff that's in our body that's incredibly important to our body. And so you need to look in these slides or look in your book and answer these questions. There's 4 questions, but they're not one-word answers. I guess number 1 is a one-word answer. But when I say briefly describe what a platelet does, I don't want you to just write scab. I'm asking you to write just a sentence about what's the main thing a platelet does. How does a white blood cell protect you? If you need more room, right below here or right in the back of the paper, that's perfectly fine. But this is your assignment for today. I want to wish you Lord's blessings as you praise your Savior.